Good morning. I'm J. Lenora Bressler, and welcome to the September 6, 2024 edition of the Bible, Delight in the Details. What does it mean to cling? In Genesis 3:24, it is said that a man shall cling to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. In Deuteronomy 4:4, it talks about how the people who cling to the Lord will live. So what is the significance of this word cling? Well, let's think about how it's been translated through the centuries. In the original language of ancient Hebrew, it had the connotation of being infused into something else. The idea apparently had become almost a sacred word to the early rabbis, to the early Jews, who believed that it represented when you did anything, when you saw something, when you thought about something, when you considered something, that you didn't consider it as one person, but as with somebody else. And I think that's perfect. I mean, I know that with me, when I see things, it always runs through my mind. What would Josh think? What would Josh say? Does this affect Josh? My decisions are imbued always with a thought about how does this impact not just me as an individual, but us as a couple. It's that idea of that nothing you experience is really experienced alone. You see out of not one set of eyes, but two. And that was the original connotation here. And the idea with the early Jewish scholars was that that's how we should be with God, that our lives should be so infused with God and an acknowledgement of God's presence and an acknowledgement of how God feels about things, that it's just like that if you're in a healthy marriage, you don't see anything without seeing it and feeling the other person's presence and opinions and preferences and impact. Now, when the ancient Hebrew was translated in the Septuagint, now we have a slightly different word, and this word is literally hug. So we are to hug God. And here again, if you're in a healthy marriage, you want to be in physical contact with your spouse. And I'm not just talking about, as my son would say, a special kind of hug, but you just want to reach out and touch them. You want to hug them, all the time. And it's interesting that when you think about it that way, we are in a way meant to be God's hugger, just like He is our hugger. There are so many studies that have been done. All the research talks about the emotional, the psychological, and even the physical benefits of really good hugs. And I guess God is the best hugger there could ever be. And yet He would like us to hug Him right back. I think that's just delightful. Now then, when this word has been translated later into the later version of Greek, they used a term which comes from welding, and it really means to be welded together. And interestingly, when you weld two things together, where they are welded, where they are glued together, so to speak, that is the strongest part of the now welded together one piece. Other pieces might break, possibly, but that particular spot will not. I think, again, since the theme seems to be husband and wife, I think of my own wedding band. We had my engagement ring and my wedding band soldered together immediately after the wedding, and so it's one thing. The two rings are together, and now I think how cool is that? Because that's right. When you are clinging to God, it should be like that soldered together wedding band. Nothing is going to break it. Nothing is going to sever it. And I think that is exactly what Jesus was praying for in the high priestly prayer of John 17, the last prayer that He gave publicly before His passion, is that he asked God, make them, His followers, one with each other and one with him, even as he is one with the Father. It's that kind of clinging together. And when there's that kind of clinging, there will be no break. There will be no way that the storms and trials of this world can separate us.